All right. Welcome once again to a brand new episode of Parks and Conversation, the podcast where Jeremy and myself, I'm Jason, we go through and rewatch this classic program called Parks and Recreation. And it's super fun. Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm Jeremy.
Yeah, there you are, right over there. So today we are watching and discussing season 1, episode 4, The Boys Club, and this whole episode, the guiding arc here is that Leslie wants to infiltrate a group of city planners, all men who hang out on Tuesday evenings and drink beers in the courtyard, and she sees this as a limiter for her feminism, and she wants to bust through and be a part of the boys club. She does good work in the government. Yeah, she does good work in the government. She feels like she should be recognized for that. Right, and you know what? She should be recognized for her work, and So that's kind of the overarching plot of this episode. The cold open, though, is one of my all-time favorite cold opens in the whole series. So Leslie and Tom are doing parks work. They're going to see what is happening in one of the local parks. There's rumor that some neighborhood youths are having dog poop fights with the waste bags from the dog poop leavings. So, so when you
have dogs.
I do have dogs.
Yeah.
And I love my dogs, and I'm happy to, when I'm taking them for walks, I want to be a responsible dog owner, and I have the bags, I pick up the waste and I throw it away in the appropriate receptacles. I never once thought that somebody would go back in there and take those out.
Yeah, you're basically creating a munitions box for potential dog poop fights.
Right. And the only thing that's going to stop a bad guy with dog poop is a good guy with dog poop.
That's right. So. If we outlaw all dog poop, only the bad guys will have dog poop.
Exactly. Yeah. This show contains multitudes. It's a modern parable of the struggles of America in so many ways, mainly around dog poop.
Yeah.
And so Leslie and Tom, they're like, this can't actually be happening. Who would do such a thing? And they get there and it's actually happening. And so Leslie tries to stop. And I love Tom's reaction. He's just like, no, I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with this. And he goes back to the car.
Yeah, he doesn't even get out of the car.
Yeah.
Like, nope.
This is not my problem. So Tom,
I don't get paid enough for this.
Right. Oh, I love Tom so much. And so he doesn't go out. So Leslie goes to see what's up. And I love that she grabs a garbage can lid as a shield and tries to get the kids to stop. And how do they respond? The way every child responds, by throwing poop right back at you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Every
child has the same response. No matter what the problem is, they're going to throw their poop at you.
Yeah.
You have children.
Yeah, I do. Do.
You know.
I do. Yeah. That's why, children are monkeys. You just got to watch out.
Yeah. So don't agitate the gorilla in your house.
Or
in the park. They'll just throw poop at you.
Yeah.
So
I love how when she walks up, she says, I'm Leslie Knope with the Parks Department. Like, that's supposed to deter them. Like, they should, okay, we'll stop.
Oh, we've heard of this, Leslie.
Because I think people who are throwing poop in the first place aren't really going to acknowledge the authority of a parks person.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. They don't care about the signs.
Obviously.
They don't care about any kind of government oversight. They are true blue libertarians.
That's right.
These are the kind of people that would, like Ron Swanson would be like, you know what? They're industrious. They found their place. They're doing their thing. So she tries to get them to stop. And so they throw the poop at her and she picks it up and throws it right back. And then she's like, you know what? This is kind of fun. And she enters into the dog poop fight with the ruffians of the neighborhood. So, and then cuts to credits, or cuts to the opening theme. And yeah, such a great cold open. Just dealing with crap. So much of government work.
Literally.
Quite. Yeah. Okay. And so then it cuts to, I have some notes and my note device keeps turning off. So, what happens after the credits, Jeremy? Take over, sir.
After the credits, the office has gathered because Norton Construction has sent a gift basket to the office. It's a small gift basket containing wine and cheese, and nobody they want to open it. And Tom makes the comment, "Oh, I want to do pretty bad things to that cheese," which I just think is an interesting comment. But we'll see that it turns into a common thread throughout the episode, which I think is hilarious. And Leslie's like, "No, we can't open that. We're not allowed to receive gifts." And everyone's like, "Who cares? It's wine and cheese." But Leslie, being Leslie, she's so principled. Nope, absolutely not. We cannot absolutely not open this under no circumstances. Yeah. I don't know. Are you back in?
I am, yeah. And so she takes it away. She locks it up, which in in classic theater theory, this is Anton's gift basket. Chekhov's gift basket.
Chekhov's gift basket. Yeah.
If a gift basket is revealed in scene 1, it has to be opened by scene 3. Otherwise, the gift basket is nothing. It's worthless. And so as soon as the gift basket shows up, this is going to, and Leslie says, we can't use this. They're going to use it. And right. So she locks it up, and then they show, Anne comes over and they show the parks people out there having their beers and stuff out in the lobby, and she wants to break through the glass ceiling into the boys club, and it cuts to a picture of all of the previous city council members, and like it's a talking head where she's trying to explain like her motivation in city government is to break through all of these gender barriers to be a part of the leadership of the city. And she points out that they're all just men and white men. And then there's the one guy who's super creepy. And she's like, I don't like this guy. Because there are all these pictures on the wall. So she wants to bust up the boys club. She gets Anne and enlists her into her cause and says, let's just go out there and let's break on through. And she thinks they don't want her there.
Right. And
Mark's response is like, hey, glad to have you. And all the other guys are like, yeah, great. Awesome. The more the merrier. Which I think is so funny, just interpersonally, in any kind of organization. Like we sometimes think that people don't want us to be a part of their group or whatever they're doing. But more often than not, they're not even thinking about excluding anybody. But we just don't have enough like boldness to like step out and be a part of the group. And so Leslie, takes a risk and steps out there, and they're like, yeah, awesome. And I enjoyed that. Like just watching this again, like I didn't think about it the first, 100 times I've watched this episode, but just thinking through, like people are not actively trying to keep people out of like just hanging out.
Yeah. And not only that, but even right before that, as she's recruiting Anne, she's looking at them talking, and she goes, what are they, they're planning, to take over the world, and just thinking the most nefarious thoughts. And then it cuts to the guys talking about how my wife thinks the shirt makes me look skinny. And he's like, yeah, she's not wrong. Right. And it's like they're talking about just menial things. So people aren't even talking about the things you think they're talking about, and not, beyond excluding you. So it's just, yeah. Two worlds merging. It's great.
Yeah. One of the, this show talks about his social media profile, and, social media was really just kind of starting in this era, but this problem of people feeling like they're being excluded has been greatly magnified with social media in our current era, because we can see people doing stuff and we're not invited, and it leads to that expression, fear of missing out, or FOMO. But more often than not, it's nobody is trying to like not let you be a part of a group, and they're not even thinking about you like at all. Like they're not planning. Like Mark and his gang are not trying to like take over the government. They're like literally just standing out there unwinding after a day of work.
Yeah, it's almost like we create this pit that exists, like, you know, that we just put ourselves into it, our own pit, if you will, that we sink into, and just we don't let anybody else in, you know. Right. And yeah. I think this show helps address some of those issues, that we don't have to be alone with our own pit. We could set up a profile for our pit, even as bad as it is, that even the world could see, hey, this is my pit, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I fell in it. You fell in it.
Right. We all fell in the pit.
We all fell in the pit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so April, she did set up a profile for the pit in this episode. So there's several different plot lines going on there. There's basically three major plot lines. The first is Leslie trying to get into the boys club. Mm-hmm. The second, this would actually be like plot C of importance, I think, is April setting up the profile for the pit. Yeah. And Leslie is just so impressed that she did this, even though it's like a Facebook profile and all you have to do is type in a few words and put some pictures up. It's not like she designed Facebook. But Leslie is just so overwhelmed with pride for April. And then the third one is Chris and Anne, and Andy and Anne, who are, Andy tries to clean up the house while Anne is at work, even though he has two broken legs. So there's those three threads in this episode. And so the profile will come back to bite them in the end, because they're going to the party. Anne and Leslie are at the boys club, and they run out of beers, and they said, "Oh, well, time's over." And then Leslie, who never wants to break an ethics rule in government, remembers that she has some wine and cheese from the construction company. And so she goes and gets the basket and continues the party. And party continues. Good times are had. But
yeah, wait, hold on. Two things. First is that as she goes to do this, we cut to April, who's calling her sister and says, you need to come pick me up, or else I'm going to write over your jeans. And she's already done that. But we see that April's stuck there. And then when Leslie comes out with the wine and cheese, she goes, "Hey, everybody, I've got wine." And everyone goes, "Yay." And cheese. Yay. They're more excited about, once again, the cheese. So again, it's a reoccurring theme that I think Pawneans really love their cheese. So,
you know, that theory will hold water.
Yes,
it will definitely come back again and again as we learn more about the people of Pawnee and their food choices. Yeah. So Leslie opens the basket, party keeps going. And then it cuts to the next day, and Leslie is in her office doing a talking head, making a confession video to every female government employee or leader, confessing that she, in an effort to break into a boys club, consumed a gift that broke ethics policy. And then she starts to go alphabetically, starting with Michelle Bachmann, which I had forgotten Michelle Bachmann even existed. And this episode was one of those things where like, oh yeah, people thought she was going to be president. Like they thought she was going to be a big deal. And now she's not. So,
well, once you get kind of enveloped, wrapped up in a scandal as big as the Pawnee wine and cheese fiasco,
right?
It can really ruin a person's political career.
Yeah, everybody knows it. It's a classic blunder.
Yeah.
So, so she makes the video. And this is where we then get to see Andy trying to clean up the house, and he does a fine job. But then Leslie confesses to the team. She brings out the basket and she says, "I ate this," and everybody's like, "Whoa, what is going on here?" And Donna,
yeah, they don't even care that she ate it.
No.
Like it's or that it's more like you broke a rule.
Right. You did, Leslie, who never breaks a rule. You broke a rule. And I love that they are like moving on quickly on this too, because they're like, well, can we take this now? Like, is this open? Like, can we have it? Because you already broke it open. So, and Donna, this is where we start to get to see a little bit of Donna's personality for the first time in this series. She starts to ask, like, well, what are you going to do with that basket? And Tom, that's a really big basket. She's like, well, what are you going to do with it? And she's like, well, I could put potpourri in it. And then Tom's like, that's a lot of potpourri. And then Donna's just like, well, I'm not the one on trial. And I love that little moment. Like, I'm not the one on trial here. So,
don't call out my potpourri use.
Right. Yeah. Who are we really investigating here? But and then Ron comes out again, still in a suit. Ron comes out and starts to say like, what's going on? So Leslie comes to confess to him. Goes into their office, and Ron's like, this is not a big deal. And this interchange between them, Ron says, let's not blow this out of proportion. And Leslie's response, I will blow this into proportion. Brilliant. I don't know how you blow into proportion anything.
Right.
But
next time they will estimate her.
Yes, exactly. And so then Ron's really thinking like, this isn't going to be a big deal. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But then Leslie makes another confession video. And each confession video gets more and more intense as she's dealing with the consequences of her behavior. So that confession video is anything that you're noting so far. I'm kind of just like clipping right along, I feel like, but anything that you noticed in the video or in their conversation that you wanted to highlight?
Oh, no, I just think what's so great about these videos is I don't think she has blown out such a small thing out of proportion. And what's about to happen in the middle of Act 2 here is an actual problem. Like what she's done so far is not a problem, but she's treating it like the State of the Union. Like, I need to address this. It's the biggest. This is a huge scandal, but we haven't even seen like something that could actually end a career. Which is about to happen, so I like the fact that she thinks this is so big, she needs to address and apologize to all these people. But as we're about to find out, it's nothing compared to what's about to happen.
Right. But before that happens, it cuts to Andy taking care of business, TCB at the house, cleaning up. He took a whole bunch of painkillers to help him get through cleaning, which is not the best recommended method for cleaning, FYI. Here at Parks and Conversation, we do not endorse that method. No. But he has got all kinds of garbage bags that he was able to round up. And he describes himself as a bit of a nester. He's like, I like to say that this mess is me and Anne, but it's mostly me. I'm a nester. Yeah. And so he
cleans the couch with he puts the vacuum on the couch,
right?
Which just reminded me instantly, like I haven't gone that far, but I have swept my kitchen table off with a broom before. Just I have kids. It's just a lot easier. Yeah. It's faster. I recommend it.
It's a lot more surface area to clean quickly.
Yeah. You're gonna vacuum anyway, so
you're gonna vacuum your table?
No, the floor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Andy's cleaning up, and he takes all his garbage and he just throws it in the pit, and cuts across the way to his neighbor on the other side of the pit, who's also throwing his garbage into the pit, and they just wave to each other. It's like, this is the new normal. This is what we do with this pit. So that was a fun little cutaway as the tension is ratcheting up in the office, because they find that April, in her boredom last night, drank some of the wine that was in the gift basket, and she posted it on the pit's social media page. And this is the scandal, because April is 19 years old. She's underage, drinking on government property, and she's drinking wine that was made available to her by Leslie. Leslie did not intend this, but it happened. Now Ron is mad. They're going to have another. He's like, they're actually going to do the disciplinary committee. This is going to happen, and it cuts to a third confession video, and this time Leslie is just weeping openly. She recognizes that her error, and she carries the guilt so personally and so much. Like, this is awful. I've ruined my career. I've ruined April's career. It's all bad. And so so that's the tension is ratcheting for sure.
She doesn't even want to talk about it anymore.
Right.
That was the best part. She's like,
Yes.
and now it's so real. Now she doesn't want to talk about it.
Right. But she'll make a video about it, which
Sure.
This is one of the great tropes that I think Mike Schur does or the Mike Schur universe does in The Office and in Parks and Rec, is the confession video.
Yeah.
Because Michael Scott also employs a similar method whenever he's trying to do a press release or anything like that. He's going to control the narrative by making the confession video. And it's never good. Nothing he says in those is ever actually helpful.
Right.
And here Leslie is trying to control the narrative, but she loses control of herself. And so, So they go into the meeting, and Ron is going with her to this. And I love that Leslie says, thanks for coming with me. And Ron says, I have to. It's like, I have to. I'm your supervisor. So, and then does it cut after that? Yeah, it cuts to Andy then trying to continue cleaning himself up now. He can't shower, so he has a kiddie pool that he gets into, and he's just clean. He's like, I learned this from my parents washing their dog. And so he gets in the kiddie pool. It's all soaped up. And his neighbor comes to try to, and takes his boombox away. And which means Andy has to chase down his neighbor. Is it Owen? No, Owen is
Lawrence.
Lawrence. Yeah. Owen is Chris Pratt's name in Jurassic World. We went over that. So Lawrence comes and steals his boombox, and then Andy chases him down the street, naked, trying to get his boombox back. So
yeah,
really
and he
great.
just tells one of the neighbors, "Go back inside, Hank."
Yeah, right.
As he's running back, I just love how Pawnee is such a small community. Everybody knows everybody.
Right. Yeah, it's a small town, and Hank looks concerned for his dog. As he's running by, like he's trying to pull his dog away, like shield his dog's eyes. And Andy's just like, just go inside, Hank. This doesn't concern you. Right. So they go into the meeting, and the disciplinary committee starts to ask questions about Leslie. And also Tom earlier tried to help Leslie prepare for this deposition hearing by asking just terrible questions about her potential fantasies about her boss, how much she drinks, all of these things. And then it ends with, you're fired. That's like the worst case scenario. So other than that, you'd probably be fine. So Tom is just never helpful. Continuing to stay on that message. Never helpful.
He's actually really good at, I was going to say, he's really, really good at not being helpful. Yeah. Like he takes pride in that. It's like, how unhelpful can I be? It's like a challenge.
Right.
I feel.
And he will find a way. He has never let us down so far. So in the meeting, they start asking the questions about, how did you get this wine? What is this boys club? And they start to say like, well, no one's supposed to drink on government property. And Ron's response is, that's not my department. I don't care. Like, you're going to have to deal with that. This is not us right now. We didn't start that. We're not in charge of that. Not going there. So Ron is a very principled person. And part of his principle is being as hostile a witness as possible. And he's going to do anything he can to not help the government move forward. And here, this is one of those times where he's saying like, no, I don't want to help. I don't want to be a part of doing anything beyond the minimum for this hearing.
Yeah, you guys figure it out.
Right. But eventually it gets to a breaking point for Ron, where they start asking questions about Leslie and like saying that she should be let go. And Ron finally stands up for her and says, no, if you want to slap her on the wrist, fine, do that. But if you want to do anything else, you have to go through me. And they leave.
Because this is America.
Right.
This isn't North Korea.
Right. If you want to live in North Korea, go for it. I don't want to live in North Korea. Yeah. So, so here's Ron's principles coming through again. Like, we are free. These rules, this bureaucracy, it all gets in the way of our freedom. So Ron is claiming principle, but I think he really does. We do start to see that he really actually does care for Leslie. Right. And he knows that he needs her on the team. And so she's never broken a rule in her life, and this is ridiculous. And so, those are all things he's going to say, but deep down, Ron has a great fondness for Leslie.
Well, and I think too, he knows that his department needs to do something, and Leslie actually gets all of the work done and gets the people to do even their bare minimum. And as long as she doesn't, really rock the boat, he's fine with letting her go because it gets things done and he doesn't have to worry about it. So yeah, he does need her on the team, but you're right. It goes beyond that, especially because he feels like she's being bullied during this deposition, and is like, no, that's enough. So yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. So they leave, and she gets a letter in her file, and she's really upset about it. Like, she's never had a letter ever. And then Leslie and Anne get together. Anne comes over after work, which I don't understand this at all about Anne. Like, my wife worked nights for years, and Anne works nights, right? But she's always like coming in at the end of a night shift to go to the city hall. Like, where is Anne on coke? Like, is she just like on drugs? Like, how is she able to like have that much energy after a long shift?
You get free. I think part of working at a hospital is you get whatever drugs you need to just keep working. I think that's how it works.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think Leslie and Anne are pretty good friends at this point, and Anne knows that she had this it was a big deal for her, and she could possibly get fired. So she's just, showing up to be a friend and help, lend an ear, but also probably because she's can't go to sleep because of all the coke.
Well, that would be a real tragic episode later on a very special Parks and Recreation, where we finally deal with Anne's drug problem. So that doesn't happen. FYI, people. Yeah. She lives in denial. So Leslie, Leslie confesses to Anne in this meeting. Her motivation was not just to break through the boys' club, but to try to rekindle her relationship with Mark, which, as we have seen in the past episodes, Mark doesn't care about at all. And Leslie is still holding on to this past encounter. And Anne says, well, really questionable taste in men. Like, that's really strange. So, and then they cut. Anne goes home. Andy is cleaned up. She's so happy. She's so relieved. She's just so grateful. And then that's where my notes end. I didn't take any notes after that. So is there more that I'm missing?
No, I think when Mark comes back and gives her a beer, at the end, and she's like, yeah, but I got a letter in my file, and Mark's like, I've got 7. I have 7. Every guy has one. So welcome to the club. And that's when she feels like, oh, this is how you become part of it. You're normal, kind of. She's learning how to be almost like a human in a way, right? Like, I have a flaw, or there's a mark against me. It's not that bad. And then the tag at the end, the tag scene is where she's in the back in the hall with the pictures of all the past council people or whatever, and she's just saying, "Watch out, guys, because I'm coming." Well, except for you, because you're creepy.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's great. And then credits. So, so first episode of this first season was rough. Second episode was a little better. Third episode, you start to get the feeling or the rhythm of the program that it's going to be. I think this episode really does like dial it in. Like, this is how we're going to move forward. Yeah. As far as like, we're learning more about the office and the culture of Pawnee. We get to learn more about Jerry and Tom and Donna, April. Like the staff is actually given more lines, and so it starts to like become a more full cast. And and so just thinking through, like, as we've been rewatching, like I was trying to figure out, like, when do they start to figure it out?
Yeah.
And I think this is really where we do get that sense, like they know what they're going to do. Even Ron, like, if I don't want to live in North Korea, I want to live in America. Like that kind of thing is like, that's going to be a big part of Ron Swanson. Right. And so they're starting to get that dialed in. And this really is a really fun episode. So,
yeah. And I think too, the whole Chris Pratt, Andy thread is because, well, I don't know this for sure, but it feels like this is writing him back into the show. Like he's kind of showing Anne that he can come, because he was only supposed to be there to make the pit available. I don't know if we talked about that, but Andy wasn't really supposed to be in the show at all. He was just kind of supposed to drive the pit forward by falling into it. And then his character was supposed to go. But because he was so funny and ad-libbing everything, they kept him in. And I think him cleaning things up and showing Anne that he is not a complete loser is getting him back into the show. But as we'll see later, what they do with his character is great. So I'm glad they kept him. But yeah, this is where they finally start to set courses for people outside of just the show by show arc.
Right. Yeah. Good. Well, was there any trivia or anything that you found or discovered?
The biggest one, I don't know how much trivia it was, and I cannot believe for the year we've talked about this. We've both watched this series through multiple times. This is the first time that I noticed in the background in Anne's house, when Anne came in to talk to Andy about cleaning up, that there was a shot of two dolls on one of her tables in the house. And it's a Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls. And it never occurred to me that it's Anne and Andy. Raggedy Ann and Andy.
Really? Never.
All these years. Never. No.
In the future, next season, she will dress up as
yes, I know.
Raggedy Ann.
I know. I just couldn't. I was like, and then Tom and Jerry, which, it's great. Yeah. So there's all these little things that it's fun to find along the way. So
that's funny. Yeah.
This was Retta's first speaking role, Donna. So
first speaking role ever?
I'm sorry. First speaking episode.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and she nailed it. She was great. So yeah, I love Donna's character so much.
Yes.
And, later when we get to meet her and her love for her vehicle, just her general, like, classiness and mystery. She is so great. Her family dynamics, love it. She is one of the best Office characters, like from that cast, like in the Office there. She's so good. And even after the whole series, I still feel like I don't know anything about Donna.
Right. She's kind of, in a weird way, she's kind of like the Creed of the Office. And I don't mean it like because she's lazy or she doesn't do stuff, but we know nothing about her past or really her, like anything. And it just gets revealed, and everything we find out about her is just ridiculous but amazing. Just kind of like Creed, where it's like, who is this guy? He's done everything. Right.
Yeah, right.
Total mystery. It's great. I think that's a great character to have.
Right. Yeah. There's an episode that was just on where she comes in and like restores all of the computer systems.
Yes.
Like I was just watching it on TV the other day. And I just was like, that's so funny. Like she just knows how to do everything, but like, you don't know that. She's just a great character. I
also liked how Jerry, we kind of skipped over in the beginning, where Leslie says, well, we can't open this gift basket. And, I forget the exact line, but Jerry talks about how you wrote me up for using a personal call in the office. And she said, well, yeah, that's the rule. He's like, that was to my mother who was in the hospital. And Leslie goes, I did not know that. And I just like that this is kind of the first inkling we get of Jerry Jerry gets no respect in the office, or like nobody really cares about Jerry. So that was, I like that. That's the first little sign or that we see throughout the series.
Right. Yeah. Up till this point, 3 episodes in, Jerry was a competent worker.
Yeah. As far as we knew.
And now it's going downhill for Jerry.
It will go downhill much faster.
Jerry, Larry, Gary, Terry, Jerry, all of them. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, good.
Yeah.
Man. Well, that was, I really enjoyed this episode. Next week, episode 5, we're going to be talking about the Tellison Awards, another major Pawnee tradition. This is, again, a great episode. And so I'm looking forward to talking about that. Yeah.
The banquet.
Yeah. The banquet and a political haircut. So, yeah, it's so good. All right. I'm already laughing about next week's episode. So
can't wait.
All right.